Casey, you there?
Yeah?
I hit her hard with that yawn.
I
there.
know. You made me yawn.
All right. So, are you ready for some more Bible stuff today? Because I got to tell you, we are covering some big shit today.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah. It's huge.
Huge?
Huge.
The biggest ever?
Ever. It's got all the best words in it. I've got the best plot.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right. Hit me with it.
Ready?
I'm ready.
I'm going to hit you with my best shot.
Okay.
All right. So, if you guys don't remember from last week, we covered, how Elisha killed a bunch of kids and other miracles, including like zombification, stuff like that. So this week, though, J-hor is going to start off co-ruling with J-ho. And J-hor, sorry. These names are so fucking confusing. Even when I boil them down to what they really are, it's so confusing. J-hor killed all of his brosefs for reasons, obviously. Everybody has reasons for the killing that they do. But then J-hor goes a step further and kills the Princes of Israel, which is an actual K-pop band that was very popular in Israel at the time. Now, y'all are going to recognize this name. Jor-El asks J-ho to fight against Moab, and J-ho makes a pinky swear to fight with him. Jor-El, which in case you don't know, Jor-El is the father of Superman. For some reason, he came to Earth at this point. I don't know why, but just imagine Jor-El here, speaking with J-ho, about running out of water. And then God apparently sent Elisha with some, SmartWater. But Elisha makes J-hor and Jor-El jump and dance and everything like that in order to get the water. God eventually slaps Elijah's ass and gives him a vision. He slaps him so hard, he gives him a vision. Kind of like that time when SJ got smacked so hard by God's dong, she, tasted colors or something. Was it she heard images?
She heard colors and fell off her bike, or God knocked her off her bike or something.
Yes, it was similar to that, but God slapped Elisha's ass. God then has J-ho and Jor-El dig their own graves as kind of like a punking thing. It's like, I'm not going to kill you. So God, after that, after God had his fun, he gave in and made Elisha give him the SmartWater. Well, turns out that SmartWater gave them plus 11 intelligence buff. It allowed them to defeat the Moab person.
Moabites.
Whatever. The Moab then sacrificed his firstborn son to appease God, because even back then, we all knew what his fetish was. God was then caught off guard, and he got distracted by taking notes because it was a really good plot device in order to use later in his little narrative here, that he allowed Israel to get fucked really hard. J-ho ends up dying, totally unrelated. Just saying. J-hor is now single again. J-hor is also, J-hor also screws Israel pretty hard by pissing off God, because apparently the apple doesn't fall far from the whore.
Judah, not Israel.
Oh, Judah.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever. He screws over Judah like Israel. There we go.
Mm-hmm.
Elijah actually sends a ghost letter to J-hor. And Elijah lays out how fucked he's going to be because God put an M80 in his gut so that his innards will become his outards. And, and this one directly relates to Donald Trump, because foreigners hop the walls with ladders and steal from people. Ednam and the liberals rebelled because J-hor pissed God off. They were pissed off at J-hor. I don't know who Ednam is, but
Edom.
whatever. And then there's a totally out of context prophecy here about how Ednam is going to get fucked hard, and because of Esau. Actually, if you guys don't remember, that's that hairy Chewbacca fuck from Genesis. Apparently, that killed KC. God realized that he meant to tick off this particular thing on his to-do list, so he's like, why not now? And so he's gonna fuck up the Edam people. Ednam, whatever.
Why don't you just call it Edna? That would have been
Edna.
a whole lot better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's gonna fuck Edna hard. The end.
That was terrible.
Was it?
Yeah, kind of.
I don't know. I felt like them gaining plus 11 intelligence from the SmartWater is pretty accurate.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. I mean, it's a pretty common buff.
In what?
I don't know. Life.
SmartWater doesn't actually make you smarter.
I mean, I've heard it both ways. What's up, heathens? How y'all doing? So, apparently I'm wrong about a few things. We spoke during the intro. She tried to convince me that I don't need to do that anymore, but, I gotta put my foot down.
You embellish a bit.
I got the M80 right, though, right?
No.
What?
No.
Okay.
Okay.
Just want to make note that I could have went totally different ways with this, but, Also, I just noticed that Kanye's name on Twitter now is just Yee. Totally random, but I look up and I see it and it's like Yee. Why has he become my 9-year-old son? I don't know. Anyways,
if it was your 9-year-old son, it would say yeet.
Yeet. Yeah. Well, that just means Kanye's lazy.
Yeah.
All right. So speaking of Kanye West, let's talk more about the Bible.
Oh yeah, he would really like this podcast. No, he's probably given his newfound
faith.
Yeah,
I guess. I don't
whatever
know.
weird shit is happening. Also, if you haven't looked at his store, just go check out the Kanye West shop.
Yeah, because as soon as you see it, you'll definitely be like, oh, Microsoft Paint's still a thing.
What's that circle for?
I don't know.
Is there a
He's got $175 shirts that just has like a circle with like a cloud texture on it and then a black hole right where your dick is probably going to be.
A shirt? Your dick is going to be like on your chest?
Well, no, I'm like, how it's like a sweater kind of thing
that hangs down.
And so like
isn't there one that says on like, if there's a ye, there's a way or something like that? I don't know. There's a really fucked up. I don't know. It's ridiculous. You need to go look at it. It's hilarious. Anyway, back to the Bible. So today it's kind of a mishmash of shit today. And we're back to the story because I know we went over Elisha and Elisha's miracles and things like that last time. But we're back to the story about Jehoshaphat, Jehoram, and Joram. All right, so now Jehoshaphat is the king of Judah.
Mm-hmm.
Joram is the king of Israel.
Right.
And Jehoram is Jehoshaphat's son who becomes co-regent with him in Judah. Okay? So we'll try to get that out of the way straight right now so that you guys can...
I really wish these names would get easier, but I know they're not.
Yeah. So some of what we're going to be going over today is in 2 Kings chapter 8. We've got some from 2 Kings chapter 3. Actually, we have most of 2 Kings chapter 3 today. We have some 2 Chronicles chapter 21. What else do we have?
Oh, we have a whole book, Obadiah, that apparently is kind of, it just sort of floats out there. We don't know where it's supposed to fucking go.
Yeah, and then we're going to go over the book of Obadiah. So It's a very short book. There are a few books in the Bible that are very, very short. And we're kind of getting into that area, I think, a little bit. So here we go. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
In the 50th... Oh, sorry, not 50th. Apparently, I wasn't ready. In the 5th year of Joram, son of Ahab, king of Israel, when Jehoshaphat was king of Judah, Jehoram, son of Jehoshaphat, began his reign as king of Judah. He was 32 years old when he became king, and he reigned in Jerusalem 8 years. Now, he didn't take over. They're just they're co-regents. And this is actually not the first time this has happened. Mm-hmm. Jehoshaphat has had a co-regent before. Also, I'm not really sure the exact reasons why he's having co-regents, but
I mean, do you think that it's kind of like J-Ho is senile or something? It's like, well, we can't really depose him.
Well, it could be some kind of illness that he has some kind of.
Yeah, I mean, Taco Bell do that to you.
They did not have those in these days.
I mean, okay, but I mean, it's better when you think of it with like.
Also, no Mexicans in the Middle East.
I mean, is Taco Bell really Mexican?
I mean, no, but America wasn't here either, so. Anyway, Jehoram's brothers, the son of Jehoshaphat, were, are you ready? Mm-hmm. Azariah, Jehiel, Zechariah, Azariahu, Shephatiah, and Michael.
Those kind of lists always kill me.
That's what I asked you before when we did our pre-podcast meeting.
Oh, okay.
That I asked him if he wanted to know the names ahead of time or if he wanted to have a initial reaction on the podcast. So there you go. That's initial reaction. I knew how he would react to Michael. But it's funny because Michael actually isn't listed last. I listed Michael last because, for effect.
Well, and you always have to, you got to sell it because you got to make the other names a big deal. And then at the end, you just give it up a little bit and you go, Michael.
I know. I'm good at it, right?
Yeah.
So all these were the sons of Jehoshaphat, king of Israel. And actually, Jehoshaphat is the king of Judah, not the king of Israel, but whatever. So their father had given them many gifts of silver and gold and articles of value, as well as fortified cities in Judah. But he had given the kingdom to Jehoram because he was his first son. Makes sense, right? When Jehoram established himself firmly over his father's kingdom, he put all of his brothers to the sword, along with some of the princes of Israel.
Ah, yes, the amazing K-pop band at the time.
Yeah, so he killed all of his brothers, and I am certain that he killed all of his brothers to protect his own throne, to protect himself.
Yeah, I mean, at that point in time, if you got a brother that's that gets elevated to the throne or something
I just fucking leave. You might
as well just pack your bags and be like, I'm going to the shitter forever. Don't try to find me, okay?
Hide your kids, hide your wife.
Get the fuck out of there.
Get the fuck out. So at that time, King Joram, King Joram's king of Israel, set out from Samaria and mobilized all Israel. He also sent this message to Jehoshaphat, king of Judah. The king of Moab has rebelled against me. Will you go with me to fight against Moab? I will go with you, he replied. I am as you are. My people are your people. My horses are your horses. By what route should we attack? He asked. Through the desert of Edom, he answered. So the king of Israel set out with the king of Judah and the king of Edom. After a roundabout march of 7 days, the army had no more water for themselves or for the animals with them.
I mean, how do you plan so poorly? I mean, if you're going to be marching, it's just like this. If you're marching for, let's say you're taking a trip and it's going to be 14 days long and you know that there's not a gas station there. wouldn't you like plan out a little bit better?
Yeah, but here's the thing. There was also no reason for them to march around the desert for 7 days, given where they were going.
Well, honey, why are you expecting like even halfway decent navigation?
I don't know. I guess I'm not. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So, what, exclaimed the king of Israel, has the Lord called us 3 kings together only to hand us over to Moab? Because they don't have any water. But Jehoshaphat asked, is there no prophet of the Lord here that we may inquire of the Lord through him? An officer of the king of Israel answered, Elisha, son of Shaphat, is here. He used to pour water on the hands of Elijah. Jehoshaphat said, the word of the Lord is with him. So the king of Israel and Jehoshaphat, the king of Edom, went down to him. Elisha said to the king of Israel, what do we have to do with each other? Go to the prophets of your father and the prophets of your mother. No, the king of Israel answered, because it was the Lord who called us 3 kings together to hand us over to Moab. Elisha said, as surely as the Lord Almighty lives, whom I serve, if I did not have respect for the presence of Jehoshaphat, king of Judah, I would not look at you or even notice you. But now bring me a harpist. So the only,
this is akin to just randomly wanting a guitarist to come and like play Stairway to Heaven or something.
Or it's like, I won't come and play in your venue, like celebrities. I won't come play in your venue unless you give me a dressing room that's completely white and has a bowl of white M&Ms on it, it. So it's just bizarre. But the only reason he's doing this is because of Jehoshaphat, king of Judah, because he respects Jehoshaphat. But the king of Israel and the king of Moab, he doesn't give a shit about. So while the harpist was playing, the hand of the Lord came upon Elisha and said, so God smacked him off his bike.
No, smacked his ass and gave him a vision. That's how good he smacks it.
And called him Elisha.
Yeah.
This is what the Lord says. Make this valley full of ditches. For this is what the Lord says. You will see neither wind nor rain, yet this valley will be filled with water, and you, your cattle, and other animals will drink. This is an easy thing in the eyes of the Lord. He will also hand Moab over to you. You will overthrow every fortified city and serve every major town. You will cut down every good tree, stop up all the springs, and ruin every good field with stones. The next morning, about that time for offering the sacrifice, there it was, water flowing from the direction of Edom, and the land was filled with water. So I misspoke earlier. I said the king of Moab was with them. It's the king of Edom, and they were fighting Moab. I think I said the wrong king earlier.
My bad.
It wasn't
at least I didn't get that wrong.
No, it wasn't you. It was just like when I was talking a little bit ago. It was Jehoshaphat. The reason that Elisha talked to them is because he respected Jehoshaphat. He didn't care about the king of Israel or the king of Edom. I think I said the king of Moab. It was Edom.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, yeah. So now they went to bed, and now there's water flowing from Edom into the desert. Okay. Now, all of the Moabites had heard the kings had come to fight against them. So every man, young and old, who could bear arms, was called up and stationed on the border. When they got up early in the morning, the sun was shining on the water. To the Moabites across the way, the water looked red like blood. That's blood, they said. Those kings must have fought and slaughtered each other. Now to the plunder, Moab. So they thought that the armies, because it was 3 different kings together, they saw the water and it looked red like blood. They thought they'd all killed each other, so they went to collect all their shit. All right?
Right.
But when the Moabites came down to the camp of Israel, the Israelites rose up and fought them until they fled. And the Israelites invaded the land and slaughtered the Moabites. They destroyed the towns, and each man threw a stone on every good field until it was covered. They stopped up all the springs and cut down every good tree. Only Hareseth was left with its stones in place, but men armed with slings surrounded it and attacked it as well. When the king of Moab saw that the battle had gone against him, he took with him 700 swordsmen to break through to the king of Edom, but they failed. Then he took his firstborn son, who was to succeed him as king, and offered him as a sacrifice on the city wall.
Oh, shit. Like, how shitty is that? It's like, hey, Dad, what's your next plan? Well, son. Funny you should ask.
I'm about to fuck you up. Well, so interesting thing, the fury against Israel after he did that was great, and Israel had to withdraw and return to their own land.
Like, how does this even make sense? It's well, I mean, okay, so if God is protecting Israel at this point, right?
Well, yeah, Judah, Israel, and Edom at this point, they're all working together.
So I mean, if God's on their side, why would the sacrificing of another guy's son? Like, I don't understand that. Unless it caused God to pause and take notes for the future.
Well, what's interesting...
I'm not saying that this is directly related to the whole death of Jesus thing, but it's just very odd how this whole firstborn son being sacrificed thing pops up.
Well, and it doesn't say, it says he offered him as a sacrifice, but it doesn't say to whom. It doesn't say he sacrificed him to Yahweh God. Or
no.
He could have sacrificed. No, I'm not saying you said that, but he could have sacrificed him to Baal or somebody else. We don't know at this point.
And at that moment, Baal became more powerful. Whatever.
Okay.
He jiggled his balls.
So the other events of Jehoshaphat's reign, from beginning to end, are written in the annals of Jehu, son of Hanani, which are recorded in the book of the kings of Israel. Then Jehoshaphat rested with his fathers and was buried with them in the city of David. So Jehoshaphat dies, unrelated to everything that happened before.
And now J-hor.
Yes, so now
king.
Jehoram and his son succeeded him as king. Jehoram was 32 years old when he became king and reigned in Jerusalem for 8 years.
And he was a shithead for every single minute.
Yes. So he walked in the ways of the kings of Israel, and as the house of Ahab had done, for he married a daughter of Ahab. He did evil in the eyes of the Lord. Nevertheless, because of the covenant the Lord had made with David, the Lord was not willing to destroy the house of David. He had promised to maintain a lamp for him and his descendants forever. He had also built high places on the hills of Judah and had caused people of Jerusalem to prostitute themselves and had led Judah astray.
So, had caused them to prostitute themselves?
Mm-hmm. So, yes, shit's going bad for Judah. And this is the first time that Judah has gone astray like this, really.
Right.
In the ways of Israel. So, Jehoram receives a letter from Elijah the prophet, which said, "This is what the Lord, the God of your father David says. You have not walked in the ways of your father Jehoshaphat, or of Asa, king of Judah, but you have walked in the ways of the kings of Israel, and you have led Judah and the people of Jerusalem to prostitute themselves, just as the house of Ahab did. You have also murdered your own brothers, members of your father's house, men who were better than you. So now the Lord is about to strike your people, your sons, your wives, and everything that is yours with a heavy blow. You yourself will be very ill with a lingering disease of the bowels, until the disease causes your bowels to come out."
Yeah. So, I mean, God placed an M80 in his gut, and it's going to cause him to explode. Is his guts going to explode?
It doesn't actually say that. It just says maybe he shits him out. Maybe he dies of dysentery on the Oregon Trail. You don't know his life.
I guess so. He could die of shitting too much. I don't know.
So he gets that. So the Lord aroused against Jehoram the hostility of the Philistines and of the Arabs who lived near the Cushites. They attacked Judah, invaded it, and carried off all the goods found in the king's palace, together with his sons and wives. Not a son was left to him except Ahaziah, the youngest. Yeah. In the time of Jehoram, Edom rebelled against Judah and set up its own king. So Jehoram went there with his officers and his chariots. The Edomites surrounded him and his chariot commanders, but he rose up and broke through them by night. To this day, Edom has been in rebellion against Judah. Libnah revolted at the same time because Jehoram had forsaken the Lord, the God of his fathers. So, that was actually the end of what today's podcast was supposed to cover.
Okay.
But it was kind of short, and there's another really short section, the book of Obadiah.
Okay.
That is what was supposed to be for the next podcast, but it's very small, not a whole lot to talk about there. So we're going to just put the two together and then continue on with the story next time.
Okay.
Okay. So this is interesting because the book of Obadiah goes through his prophecy against Edom. And that's important in this time because we're talking about Edom here. So Edom is the area or region, and the Edomites are the people who are Esau's descendants. Okay, so Esau, if you don't remember, is
Chewbacca fuck.
is Jacob, or who we now know as Israel, right? Because God slapped his ass and called him Israel.
Or did something like that, yeah.
In the desert. That's his brother. Remember, Jacob and Esau were brothers, and Esau betrayed Jacob because Jacob was the firstborn and was supposed to get the inheritance, but Esau tricked their father into promising it to him.
Right.
Yeah, so there was a lot of conflict between Esau and Jacob, and so throughout time, there has now been conflict between Edom and Israel.
Yeah, and I believe, wasn't it? So the whole Jacob Esau thing is also where we get the sacrificing of animal guts, because if I'm not mistaken, Jacob harvested animal guts and like meat and stuff, while Esau like basically farmed shit.
That was Cain and Abel.
Was that Cain and Abel?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's so anyways, I'm so sorry. Yeah. My bad.
Yeah, that was Cain and Abel.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I always get shit mixed up.
It's hard to keep everything straight. It really is. There's a lot of times where I'll be thinking of something, but I'll have to look it up again because even though I've read this before and I'm reading it now, I still have to go back and look because it's like, wait, who was that? It's hard to keep everything straight.
Yeah, because one of the I was just thinking about one of the kids bringing his dad a fruit basket while the other guy brought him a steak, and it's like, which one would you pick?
Yeah,
steak and bacon.
Yeah. So, you're gonna have some friction between these two groups of people, and their descendants that came from way back then. Okay, so between Jacob and Esau. Now, Obadiah's prophecy, and this is admitted. So. This admittedly by Christians, they don't really exactly know the entire context of this prophecy or even where in history it came from or belongs. Some have said that this prophecy belongs in a much later period in time, possibly even at 250 years later, but others think it has a historical context in the present that we're talking about right now. So anyway, the Daily Bible that we're going through has decided to place it here, right before there's some significant conflict between Judah, Israel, and Edom. Mm-hmm. Okay. So, are you ready to read through the book of Obadiah?
Yes.
Okay.
My body is ready.
Okay. The vision of Obadiah. This is what the sovereign Lord says about Edom. We have heard a message from the Lord. An envoy was sent to the nations to say, "Rise and let us go against her for battle. See, I will make you small among the nations. You will be utterly despised. The pride of your heart has deceived you, you who live in the clefts of the rocks and make your home on the heights, you who say to yourself, 'Who can bring me down to the ground?' Though you soar like the eagle and make your nest among the stars, from there I will bring you down, declares the Lord. If thieves came to you, if robbers in the night, oh, what a disaster awaits you. Would they not steal only as much as they wanted? If grape pickers came to you, would they not leave a few grapes? But how Esau will be ransacked, his hidden treasures pillaged. All your allies will force you to the border. Your friends will deceive and overpower you. Those who eat your bread will set a trap for you, but you will not detect it. In that day, declares the Lord, will I not destroy the wise men of Edom, men of understanding in the mountains of Esau? Your warriors, O Teman, will be terrified, and everyone in Esau's mountains will be cut down in the slaughter. Because of the violence against your brother Jacob, you will be covered in shame. You will be destroyed forever. On the day you stood aloof, while strangers carried off his wealth, and foreigners entered his gates and cast lots for Jerusalem, you were like one of them. You should not look down on your brother in the day of his misfortune, nor rejoice over the people of Judah in the day of their destruction, nor boast so much in the day of their trouble. You should not march through the gates of my people in the day of their disaster, nor look down on them in their calamity in the day of their disaster, nor seize their wealth in the day of their disaster. You should not wait at the crossroads to cut down their fugitives, nor hand their survivors in the day of their trouble. And this part's interesting. Sorry, before we continue, it talks a lot about how all the people of Esau will be killed, and it talks about Judah and Israel and how they will go through days of disaster. In the Bible, in the Daily Bible, in the beginning parts, like not before every section, but before larger sections, there's a gray box with kind of apologetics and summaries and shit. The one that starts this day says, the very first line, even when a man is at his worst, God does not forsake him. Which is interesting. And I find it interesting, not just because of this passage in Obadiah talking about how God is going to forsake them because they fucked up, but that's what the whole OT is about.
Right.
People fucking up and God forsaking them. Now, granted, as long as they, start, praying and things and worshiping God again, he forgives them usually. I mean, unless he's killed them in the meantime.
He sent them to hell so that they can't do it no more.
But this is just totally false.
Right.
The whole, even in your worst of days, he'll not forsake you. That's ridiculous. That's what this section right here specifically says he will do and is gonna do.
Well, yeah, because there's multiple kings and everything like that of the past where, they have, they've been at their worst and God has totally forsaken them.
Well, yeah, and he's gonna kill the descendants of people, way before, he has this whole rule, your sons will pay for your sins for 5 generations or something like that. It's ridiculous. 5 generations down will pay for the sins of their father. I mean, if that's not forsaking, I don't know what the fuck is.
Yeah, I don't know.
So it's ridiculous. It's a ridiculous apologetic. And when I read this section specifically and thought about that, I was like, this is ridiculous. But the whole OT is set up like that. It happens throughout the entire thing. So let's continue. The day of the Lord is near for all nations. As you have done, it will be done to you. Your deeds will return upon your own head. Just as you drank on my holy hill, so all the nations will drink continually. They will drink and be as if they had never been. But on Mount Zion will be deliverance. It will be holy, and the house of Jacob will possess its inheritance. The house of Jacob will be a fire, and the house of Joseph a flame. The house of Esau will be a stubble, and they will set it on fire and consume it. There will be no survivors from the house of Esau.
Oh, wow.
Yes. And that section ends with the Lord has spoken. So this is the way that the following couple of few verses, and that'll be the end of today, are how in Obadiah's prophecy, God's people will be restored. Okay, so are you ready? Mm-hmm. People from the Negev will occupy the mountains of Esau, and people from the foothills will possess the land of the Philistines. They will occupy the fields of Ephraim and Samaria, and Benjamin will possess Gilead. The company of Israelite exiles who are in Canaan will possess the land as far as Zarephath. And exiles from Jerusalem who are in Sepharad will possess the towns of the Negev. Deliverers will go up on Mount Zion to govern the mountains of Esau, and the kingdom will be the Lord's. Yep. So that's the prophecy of Obadiah.
It just kind of floats out there.
Yeah.
Dangling in the wind.
And they put it here because it kind of makes sense in the story, I guess, because Edom's about to get fucked up.
Yes, they are. So, I guess they're going to be burnt to a crisp, as the prophecy would put it.
So that's why it's sitting here. It could also go other places again, and nobody really knows the full there's no context really around this prophecy. It's just kind of stuck in there. Anyway, next week on the Bible.
On the Bible.
Jehoram is going to be struck ill.
Jehoram eats the wrong Taco Bell.
We're going to have some of Syria's plans being thwarted. Part of the problem is that all of the Syrians are blinded.
Oh shit, Syria's blind.
Yeah. There's going to be a woman who has her land restored and a guy that is healed of leprosy.
The guy sews his dick back on.
Oh, I wonder if this is the one where it tells you how to heal leprosy. Remember that Bible
Yeah, but admittedly that was how to clean yourself after having leprosy or something like that. But it's like the entire purpose of it is to cleanse yourself of leprosy, and it still doesn't do that.
Yeah, so we're going to talk a little bit about him being healed from leprosy. That same guy's going to express his faith, which is good, I guess. There's going to be some famine. Man, there's a lot. There's a lot next week. Hold on. There's going to be some famine. There's going to be some more lepers, and they're going to make a discovery. And then we're going to see that some prophecies are going to be fulfilled.
Say it isn't so.
Yeah. Sure thing.
All right. Well, heathens, I hope that you enjoyed this Bible study today. I know I did. I mean, honestly, I feel like my summary was a little bit better, but
Your summaries are always quite entertaining.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it seemed to kill you with the whole Chewbacca thing.
It's pretty funny. Well, because he had red hair and he was super hairy and his back was hairy. Like, that was the big thing about Esau. When he was born, he was hairy all over, remember? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it was funny.
Anyways, heathens, I hope that you guys will tune in next week when we discuss how prophecies are fulfilled and everybody goes hungry and the lepers show up at the exact wrong time.
And don't forget to stand up and use your voice.
Bye, heathens.
Bye, y'all.